Hey guys, great day! Today we are looking at the simplest technique of shading to create illusion of depth on paper. Though there are various methods of making an object photorealistic, we opt for the basic one. For a decent quality of shading effects, you may need some good pencils and drawing sheets. Here I am using a white cartridge sheet of 140 GSM, and generally these sheets are available in range of 140 to 400 GSM. You need HB pencils for drawing the outlines and the B pencils for shading. What I am using here is a 2B and a 8B. You must also know that the higher number of B, the darker tones we get. And for my own convenience, I'll be using only 3 of these pencils. For getting a better quality of sketching, we must make sure that our pencils are being sharpened, and for this we must use a craft knife and not a sharpener. It's important to note that the tip of the pencil, that is the graphite area, is equal to the sharpened base. This one has been sharpened with the sharpener. The problem here is the short tip of graphite, which might make you sharpen the tip more number of times. Now, let's start with the basic shading techniques. If you are a beginner, you must see to it that you are using the slightest pressure on your sheets and use HB pencils for the purpose. In case you have made a mistake and you want to erase it, you might not want impression of it. For a clean drawing, it's advisable to use lighter strokes. We will begin with the circle, and don't worry about the perfection. We may start with a circle and start making it into a 3D object, that is a sphere, using this technique of shading. Since I have made this circle with the slightest of pressure, if I might want to redraw it, I would erase it and there won't be an impression on the sheet, and I would make the same drawing with a clean and neat background. Let me draw the circle once again. Now, before even starting shading, consider the direction of light. For this, let us assume the top angle to be 45 degrees and the shadow also falls at the same angle. Now I am using 2B pencil for the shading purpose, but before that let me see to it that the edges are perfectly sharpened. The pencils should be sharpened in such a way that one side of it seems to be sharp and other one looks to be blunt. Use the pointed edge for making lines and the blunt edge for the purpose of shading. Let's start shading the shadow and the rear side of the sphere. Once you have done that, start shading in a horizontal direction. Imagine if the center is bulging towards you and the periphery is fading away. Shade as close as possible along the arc of the circle. Alongside, make the strokes converge at the poles. Once you have done this, start using the strokes for darker tones. I'm using 8B to make the depth more impressive and realistic. Now you can practice it n number of times until you get a hang of it. Start practicing the technique using other shapes and other objects, for example, the cone. Try to remember the steps we used in shading the circle and transforming it to the sphere. Also remember, the more cleaner the tone, the more realistic the object and the scene is. While shading the cone, the strokes are in the direction of the curve, such that the lines in the middle will be broader to show a perception of bulge. To differentiate between between the object and the shadow, it's always good to make the area joining them even more darker. Now let's try the same technique with the cylinder. The only difference will be the strokes we are using for shadow. The strokes will be parallel to the outlines of the cylinder to make it more of a realistic object. The side facing the source of light will be always lighter than the rear side of the object. See, isn't it easy? So hope you guys found it useful. See you in another video and take care.